In the vacuum of Sector 7, silence is the only law. But then, we saw it. A single Type 3 bipedal creature, oxygen-starved and leaking vital fluids, clinging to the hull of a ruptured dreadnought. Any other sentient species would have accepted the peace of the void. They would have calculated the 0.001% survival rate and simply ceased. But not the human. Through the thermal sensors, we watched their core temperature plummet. We watched their heart rate spike to impossible rhythms. And then, with a jagged piece of scrap metal and a scream that vibrated through the very hull, the human punched through the reinforced titanium. They didn't just survive. They took the ship back. To the galaxy, we are monsters. To the stars, we are an anomaly. Today, we look at why the universe is terrified of the creature that calls a Grade-12 Deathworld home. To understand the human, you must understand their cradle. Earth. In the Great Census, Earth is classified as a Class X meat grinder. It is a planet where the very weather tries to kill you, where the water is filled with apex predators, and where the gravity is strong enough to crush the skeletal structure of a Grellian ambassador. But why is this specific human, Commander Elias Thorne, standing at the center of the Orion Nebula Crisis? Why is he the only one the Hive Mind refuses to engage? It's because Elias Thorne isn't just a soldier, he's a descendant of persistence hunters. He carries the genetic memory of a species that didn't have claws, didn't have venom, and didn't have wings. All they had was the ability to walk until their prey's heart literally exploded from exhaustion. The promise of this story is simple. We are going to show you the moment the galaxy realized that diplomacy was just a word humans used until they ran out of patience. And once a human runs out of patience, the laws of physics become mere suggestions. Let's talk about adrenaline. To the rest of the galaxy, it's a controlled neurotoxin used in extreme medical emergencies. To a human, it's breakfast. Imagine a machine that, when damaged, pumps itself full of liquid fire that numbs pain, sharpens vision, and triples physical strength. That is the human endocrine system. During the Siege of Krell, a human medic was seen lifting a 2-ton reconnaissance vehicle to retrieve a fallen comrade. His bones were fracturing under the weight, his muscles were tearing from the bone, but his brain was screaming more. We call it hysterical strength. The universe calls it biological cheating. Then there's the micro-war. Humans are covered in bacteria that would liquefy a xylogen in seconds. Their stomach acid is capable of dissolving zinc. They drink ethanol for fun. They season their food with capsaicin, a chemical evolved by plants specifically to avoid being eaten. Humans don't just live on a death world. They are a walking death world. In the year 442, the Thalmor Empire issued a surrender-or-die ultimatum to Earth. The humans responded with a 3-word transmission: come and get it. The Thalmor expected a war of fleets. They got a war of shadows. Humans don't follow the optimal strategy for survival. They follow the I'm taking you with me strategy, the Battle of the Oort Cloud. The logs of Admiral Zog describe the horror of boarding a human ship. They don't stop, he wrote. We shot one through the primary lung. It looked at the hole, looked at me, and kept charging. It used its own blood to slick the floor so I would slip. Who does that? What kind of mind prioritizes spite over self-preservation? But here is the part the history books leave out. The part that truly scares the Hive. It's not that humans are strong. It's that they are kind to things that don't matter. During the Great Famine of the 7 Moons, the humans didn't send warships. They sent tugboats filled with grain. They spent trillions of credits to save a species, the Vora, that had tried to exterminate them only a decade prior. When asked why, the human ambassador simply said, they looked hungry. This pack bond is a weapon. A human will fight for their life. But a human will die for a dog, or a robot with a smiley face, or a stranger they met 5 minutes ago. You cannot predict a species that operates on the logic of the heart. While the rest of the galaxy perfected plasma and lasers, humans stayed obsessed with throwing rocks. Every human weapon is essentially a way to throw a piece of metal very, very fast. Railguns, kinetic impactors, rods from God. The aliens laughed until they realized a plasma shield is designed to dissipate heat, not to stop a 5-pound slug of tungsten traveling at Mach 20. Humans didn't reinvent the wheel, they just figured out how to use the wheel to crush your skull from 3 light seconds away. The station was falling. The atmosphere was venting. The enemy was at the door. Thorne didn't have his armor. He didn't have his rifle. He had a screwdriver and a flare. The enemy commander walked in, 4 arms bristling with blades. "Why do you still stand?" the alien hissed. "Your heart is failing. Your species is a speck in the dark." Thorne looked up, blood staining his teeth in a savage grin, the Deathworlder grin. "We aren't a speck," Thorne whispered. "We're the spark." He didn't trigger a bomb. He triggered the station's emergency venting system, not to escape, but to create a vacuum seal that would drag the enemy into the core. As the screen fades to black, we see the star charts of the future. The human territories aren't marked by borders. They are marked by safe zones. Because wherever a human goes, the monsters of the dark find something even scarier waiting for them. Humanity isn't awesome because we are the strongest. We are awesome because the universe told us to lay down and die, and we said, "Make me." Rooted Roads brings you a new Hi-Fi story every single week. Make sure to tune in next week for a story you won't want to miss.